Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the League of Inches podcast. Got a spring in me step, I feel like. We're on that run home. I know Origin 3 is coming up. Everyone is pumped for that. But the weekend's football was absolutely sensational. I thought there were some absolutely cracking games. A lot of the big boys were stepping up. A lot of big guns, Origin players were stepping up as well to make sure they were getting selected for Game 3. And I thought that the quality of football was actually the winner of the weekend, and some cracking contests, which we will get into. We'll talk about some of the teams that were struggling. Some of the teams are doing great. Separate the good from the bad. Recognize some of the faces we've gone, in with the young, out with the old on a Sunday night. So the young hackers are in, ready to go and ready to show some energy. Didn't really advertise tonight either. I've just been under the pump. So hopefully some of our regulars come on, get involved, have this. Otherwise, they'll be listening belatedly afterwards, or watching the show, or watching on the listening to the podcast as well. Look, I'm going to go throw to him straight away because he's clearly wanting attention. This is what the young ones do these days. They want attention. They do something stupid. Goosey, welcome back. It's nice that your mum's allowed you back to use your internet. I know you were using it for the wrong things for the last about month and a half, so you got banned. But good to have you back. What's new?
Nothing much. I finally just came out of the sin bin from Joel, actually. It wasn't my mum with the internet. Joel finally let me out of the sin bin for some comments that I make. But no, it's good to be back. Nothing much, just being busy, playing sport, training and stuff, being sick for a bit. But we're back now. We're ready to lock in.
Look, we'll go a bit more later on this, but credit to the Bulldogs. It was a great win yesterday. Thoroughly deserved it. And we're just clearly the better team on the day yesterday. Jakey boy, we had some issues with you on Talking Para, unfortunately, Tuesday night. I know you've probably got a lot of things built up that's been with you now for a week and a half. So we might be able to get some of this from Parramatta fans. And how's things for you? Your internet's sorted out, hopefully.
Oh, look, I mean, I live in Woodville. It's just what do you expect? Things happen sometimes. You have crappy internet. But, yeah, no, I had heaps of stuff I was wanting to say on Tuesday, and I'm a little bit spewing because I was ready to get it all off my chest, and it's still, sitting in there. So that's fun.
Yeah, well, you can get a bit out tonight. I'll give you the floor when we get to the Parramatta spot and let some of you guys that haven't said much on it, let you have your say. Tyler, welcome back, brother. Just had the New South Wales Blue side drop as well, which has got us a bit pretty pumped. I like the side. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show as well. So stay tuned to that one, guys, and have your say. How's your weekend been?
Very, very, very relaxing this weekend. Haven't been up to much. Just tuning in for the footy and sinking some piss.
Can you just inform everyone watching the show, the live the viewers and the family? Can you let us know live on air your 3-2-1, please, for the Sydney Roosters versus the St. George Illawarra Dragons game, please?
I prefer not to, if that's an option.
Okay, we'll leave that for Tyler to either come out publicly at some point in this show live to everyone who's kindly with us sharing the next 45 minutes to an hour, which is very kind of you. We really appreciate it. And I want to give him that sort of content. I want to give them some outlandish stuff. So that's up to you, Tyler. I'm not going to pressure you, though. We will get there. First up tonight, guys, we're going to rip and tear straight away. My weekend was great. Great footy games. Pretty relaxing compared to what I have had the last probably feels like about a month or so now. Hang on. Goosey, this is a rugby league program. If you want to rub that shit into here, I'll delete you off the show, and I'll do it. I will literally do it. No one wants to see that shit. You're on a rugby league program promoting the only code or the only game that your country cares about, and the Wires are taking over. That's showing how good it's going. So pipe down over there, mate. Seriously. Jakey boy, throw to you. Thursday night feels like a lifetime ago. I feel like I've finally gotten over it, finally, and it's Sunday night. Got to bring it up. I kind of forget the game in a way, which is probably a good thing. Is it the lowest point now for Parramatta? Is that bottom part where now is the only way up, or what are your thoughts around the game, the club, if you want to go that far?
Oh, I mean, I think anyone who watches Talking Para knows my thoughts around the club is that, it's just a circus at the moment. It's whatever. But in terms of this was our game. After all the stuff in the media about Mitchell Moses coming in and Mitchell Moses like went off at everyone in the sheds and we're the only ones who are going to get us out of this and all that. And look, this was our game to come out and do that. Be that, show there was a good opportunity for every person in the team that, they're high profile paid players to come out and go, right, you know what, enough's enough. We're playing like shit. Like, let's figure it out. And what I will say, and this is a statement that I don't like saying, is the effort felt like it was there potentially, but it's another one of those games where it's like that isn't enough. It's getting to a point where that is not enough anymore. Actually, a lot of people were talking. We had very mixed reviews on Jake Tungo. I think he was great. He just is not a winger. He's a center. I thought he brought great energy. He ran hard. You can't blame him for that. That try where he got saved, it was a brilliant try saver. Like, the person who, I don't remember who it was. It was maybe Jacob Gagai, I think it was. Man, that was a great try saving tackle. Like, what are you gonna do? Nothing. Like, he did a great job. Also, I thought that Geimer came on, smashed it. Love that. I hope he either gets a starting spot for junior going forward potentially, but also he's pretty young, so we don't want to like push him too hard too early and do what we did to Hopgood and things like that. But the Rabbitohs, they showed too much class, I would say, over us, and it felt like, and this is what I'm hoping doesn't happen, is that it felt like Mitch is going to turn into potentially a player who's now trying too hard. And I know that sounds silly. There's no trying too hard, but he showed like he went off at everyone. He's done that whole spiel, and now he has to then back it up, and he's kind of put himself under pressure to do that. So I'm a bit like, yes, I would say that it is probably the darkest point that we've been at for a long time. Since Brad Arthur came to the club, obviously, without the whole scandal and all that crap that happened at the very beginning, I'd say this is the lowest point. And I don't think it gets better this season. I don't think we come last. I think there's got to be a team in there that we can beat, or two teams in there that we can beat. But I don't see us coming better than third last.
Tyler, I'm going to you next because I don't even want to give the other bloke a say in this one at the moment. He's just really riled me up to start this podcast, which isn't great for him. What are your thoughts as a Para fan as well? So obviously there's a bit of passion there, which is what I love to see. But what are your thoughts? Is it lowest point?
For as long as I've watched Parramatta, absolutely. I came in as I started watching just a bit before, the Brett Arthur era. Probably the first coach I really remember would probably be Ricky Stewart, which already put a bad taste in my mouth to start it off. So we're not off to a flying start there. But I honestly thought that our debuts were probably the best players on the pitch. Apart from probably, I guess Gutho, but he's currently giving me the shits, giving up on tackles near the try line and, putting his arms up, waving for the ref. I don't know what his issue is with that at the moment, but he needs.
I don't really think there was bad reffing in that game, by the way. I was something I was going to say.
I agree.
Last week, I was happy to blame it on the ref against the Knights. Who we play last week? Knights, yeah. I was happy to blame that on the ref because that was absolutely fucking disgusting officiating, and I'm not someone that blames it on the ref. But this week, no blaming it on the ref. We lost that ourselves. Absolutely not.
Yeah, absolutely. And Geimer was great. I thought it was great. Tungo, obviously, not a winger, but I think he brought really, really good, energy into it. I have a lot to say on Mitchell Moses and the way he conducted himself in the last 10 minutes. And I think it really shows where the club is at the moment. I honestly think he's regretting re-signing last year or the year before, whenever the hell he re-signed. Sat there and laid on a tackle, crying to the ref, and then got 10 in the bin. Yeah, well done. That's really showing where your head's at the moment. And, you can go into the sheds and fucking complain all you want because, hell, Trent Barrett isn't going to do it. He's as much as a weak-gutted dog as Jaden Salmon is. It's not going anywhere with that prick in the coach's box. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's a lovely dude, but Jesus, he's not an NRL player. Like, sorry, a coach. He's not an NRL coach. And look, at this point, we may have to adopt what Bulldogs have done for, a few years and just go by half a Penrith team, because that's where we're looking at the moment. But we'll go sign players that are 33, 34, because we hate giving young people a go, apparently. But yeah,
there's only
I'm
one
done
thing.
with
There's
Club at the
only one
moment.
thing I want to give Trent Barrett credit for, is that he is starting to blood people, and he's actually willing to do that, whereas Brad wasn't. I'll give him that. He's actually, he's putting putting the team past himself and putting some people on to start getting ready for next year, I feel like, which is something that Brad just wasn't doing.
Arthur was just too big-headed and, was too afraid to admit that he was wrong. And, he still stands to this day by the fact that Jake Arthur was the right decision to have in that grand final over a forward, which I completely disagree with. He scored a try in the 77th minute once they'd started popping the champagne and, figuring out which club they were going to go to that night in Sydney. Like, it's... There's a lot of feelings there, but I don't even want to go into it anymore. It shit me off to the point where it is what it is.
It is what it is. Sarkis, I will get to that question. That's a very good question. We are going to touch on the Penrith Panthers in a couple of segments' time, so I'll hold the question till then, but we will answer that. Look, I like the fact that we are giving some youngsters a go, and honestly, Charlie Geimer was... I put in a few of the posts, the comments and stuff. I said he's been our best forward all year, and he's played 45 minutes of football so far this year. That's saying something to our engine room, and it hasn't been good. The thing with the club is it's so lost at the moment. It just really needs to get fixed up for mine. It's just completely all over the shop, and that's from the back of house, and it's going onto the field now. And whether the players are putting it or not, that's only them that can answer that honestly. But from an outsider's point of view, it just looks like everything's all over the shop. And Tyler touched on the Moses thing. I can kind of understand him. Like, he's that frustrated probably with all the shit going on at the moment. I don't blame the bloke. He obviously came out, did something, whether he was getting his arm held in the tackle, which happens a lot as well. But like, it was just a weird one. Like, he just literally stood up there with him, just holding on to the guys. I don't know. Like, that was a weird one, but it is what it is. Goosey, here you go. Rub it in if you want. I don't care, but just be careful, because we're going to talk about your team shortly. So
yeah, well, like, that's the thing. Like, I can't say too much. Like, 2 weeks ago, we got slapped by the Titans, who were sitting at, as Andrew was saying, sitting at the bottom. We got slapped 66-6. So it just brings like a smile to my face that I'm not the only one suffering. But I do think like this will happen this year. I think the Eels.
So you honestly think we'll get the spoon?
Nah, it's all jokes, a little bit jokes, but I don't think. Like, I think if it comes down to like you or the Tigers in the game, like, you would beat the Tigers.
No, sorry, not with the way they played against the Storm last night. They played pretty well, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in there. I think we get the spoon. I think it's honestly, well. I think it's what we need. I think we need to have that embarrassment, because we can't get lower than this.
Well, we can. We can get one spot lower.
Shut up, Jake.
At the moment, we can. On the Gutho stuff, I know there's been a bit said at the moment, and Adam obviously has been one of the ones saying it a lot with him and retirement and stuff like that. I honestly, as you know, have watched on Talking Paris, I don't agree with that. Honestly, if his leg is as bad as what people are making, and the funny thing is, the club hasn't come out. He hasn't come out and said anything. So whether this is just speculation because he's hobbling on the field at times, I'm not sure. But for mine, he's still putting in 110% effort. He's still trying his guts out, which is what most of the players on the field at the moment look like they're not doing. So you got a guy on one leg doing it, where a lot of the team, like my missus tells me, and she told me the other day, she's like, I think she must have seen one of the posts about Gutho, and she was like, what's going on here? Like, he's one of the ones and she watches most of the games with me, that literally looks like he's trying nonstop. And that's what we always complain about our players not doing. So I just think it's crazy. If there is an injury there, I'll just say, you know what, go get it fixed. Don't worry about the rest of this year. Go get your body right. Come back next year. I still think he's the best fullback option at the club for what we've got in the books at the moment. Blaze isn't ready. He's a long way from being ready, and he's only young. So don't push him. He needs to have another year either on the wing or at centre and get to understand first grade at that level a lot more. And then he might start to become a fullback. But he's not the answer at fullback yet. Unless we can sign someone like Suafa'alongo from the Storm, I'd leave Gutho at the moment and just say, please get your body right this year. And come back next year in 2025. I think he's 30 this year, so it's not like he's over the hill. He's still got a number of years ahead of him, in my opinion. So only thing I can probably say is that he might be looking at probably a downgrade his next contract, but I'd be letting him at least have that time to rest his body up. So
I'd still say that Gutho is in the top 5 for most safe defensive fullbacks in terms of one-on-one tackling. Like if someone's if someone was running at the line and you only had one person to stop him, like like a forward or whatever was coming at the line, I would pick Gutho because he just makes those tackles that some fullbacks just do the old arm wobble and let through. And I'm just like, I'd still pick him. You're right. He puts 110% in of effort every single week, and I will never ever ever say Gutho doesn't put in effort because you know what? He has been the heart and the soul of this team for a good few years now, and it isn't fair to him to go, oh, you have started playing, you've started putting in 7 out of 10 games as opposed to 9 out of 10 games every week. Like, oh, now you need to go. Well, you know what? Everyone else is putting in 4s. So what are you going to do? Like,
yeah, it doesn't seem right. And it just feels like if there's one player out there we should be backing no matter what, it is probably Gutho. Like it's a couple of bad games where a majority of this team has had a bad game for the last 18 months, in my opinion. So we can't crucify this bloke. Let's go talk about the Cronulla Sharks. They're another team for mine that I honestly thought, I think it was 4 weeks ago, I did a ladder predictor, and I thought they'd pretty much go through until the finals time, losing maybe one game. They have a tremendous run. They still do. They just can't put it together. Nico Hines looks a shadow of a player. Nico's absolutely done. He's done this 2 years in a row now. Origin is obviously just a huge beast that he hasn't been able to handle at the moment. And he just comes back a shadow of himself. The Cronulla Sharks would be thinking, can we have a year where you don't look at trying to get into the Blues team, please? Like let's just focus on us for once. The rest of their team, like Niokora is killing it. Britton Niokora has just turned a page and one of the best edge back roles all of a sudden in the competition. But the rest of the team, it's just sort of, they're so like meh at the moment. It's like you watch them, you're waiting for like their outside backs to pick up and do something electric, and they're not. Goosey, what are you thinking of the Sharkies at the moment? Because they're on a massive slide for mine, and it's at the point where I'm actually starting to think they might miss the 8.
Yeah, because when we did like a potty like a month or so ago, I was saying like I think these guys are like contenders, like top 6 or something. But now I was just looking at the last 3 games for the Sharks. They've conceded 2 tries in the first 20 minutes in all the games. And 2 tries. So like they're conceding like 8 to 12 points straight off the bat in the first 20 minutes of the game. And they're just struggling to come back from it. And I think it's just the slow starts combined with like their kicking game is from Trindle. Like Hines doesn't kick in game. The main kicker is Trindle. And brother's too busy sniffing coke at half time, mate. Like he needs a little more help out there, man. Like, yeah.
Wouldn't that boost his performance?
Well, you would think
We'd
so,
like to
but
stay on the air,
look how the
please.
Sharks are going. Look how the Sharks are going. Like,
you can't come on here
boosting.
and shoot that shit across, bro. You'll get it. Like, I'd like to stay on air. Thank you. I'm moving from you because while you're speaking like that, you need to calm yourself. Get in the corner, calm yourself down.
Back in the sim bin.
Tyler, Shane mentioned it as well. Like the Trindle coming back seems to have hampered Hines as well as the Origin arena. That's fair to say. I think Atkinson and Hines was really starting to become a really nice combination and worked well. Trindle for mine isn't an out-and-out superstar or a guy that demands his jersey back, especially after what we've heard the reports about what he actually done to lose his spot in the first place. I'm just shocked at Fitzy bringing him almost straight back into this team and mixing up a halves combination that for mine were doing a really good job for the Sharkies.
Yeah, look, I completely agree with you, but I'm going to throw in a bit of a shout here. I think Kyle Ero is one of their best backs that they have, and they're not using him enough. They're using him as a battering ram, and that's it. He has so much more to offer than runs off of kicks. It doesn't make sense to me the way they use him, because his footwork is some of the best centre footwork I've seen in the competition for a long time. Trindle, I've never understood the hype. He's okay. He's a 6. He can kick. Well done. Hazleton's had a drop in form as well. He's been good for the past few weeks, but he's had a drop in form. Atkinson on the wing, I don't know what Fitzy was thinking there. He's not a winger, that's for sure. It's nearly bad as us putting Arcee at centre. And then Royce Hunt has just been so up and down this year. I don't understand what's going on with him. And just he continues to shock me how good he is one week and bad he is the next. I can understand why the Sharks fans are frustrated at the moment, and they are dropping quickly out of the top 8 if they are not careful. They're only two games away from someone like the Cowboys or Newcastle and even the Dragons, pinching them and catching up to them.
Yeah, Jakey boy, what are your thoughts on the Cronulla Sharks? The last probably 3 or 4 weeks we can talk about. It's just they're a shadow of the team that they were at the start this year, and had so many people, I myself included, I actually started to say they've really earned my respect, and I had them in the challenge for this title this year. But they were a very united club. They had that club vibe about them. They were very all together. It was great to see. Me and Adam mentioned it at Magic Round. They all stood on the field. They all went and thanked their fans, the only team that did so. But at the moment, it's just, I don't know, want for trying, but they run out in the field. They just like they sort of don't want to be there.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but I think it was the very first podcast you actually had me on here where you asked about who you think's going to slide out of the ladder and that stuff, and they were the team that I picked for it. Because
well done, mate.
Well, thanks, mate. I just thought I'd give my little pat on the shoulder there, but I saw them on a slide. They were on a slide. I don't know. They just looked like they dropped in their performances, even when they were winning towards the end of when they started to, drop off in their performances, and then they've obviously started losing those games. It all started when they lost to us, actually. They lost to
embarrassing.
us, and it tends to happen if you're in the top 8 and you lose to the team coming last. That tends to come with a slide in form. I don't know what it is, but it's a thing that happens. They are coming, so 3rd place and 4th place, which is them. So Roosters and Sharks are both on 24 points. Then you have 5th and 6th on 22, 7th in Eagles in 21. But then, this is where it gets interesting. You have 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Oh, no, sorry, 8th, 9th, and 10th, all on 20 points. That's such a tight competition. Like, there's 4 points in between literally 3rd place and 10th place. So it's really anyone's game. Plus, you've got all on between 11th and 13th, all on 18 points. So only 6 points then difference between them and the 3rd place. It's just such a tight comp. Anything can happen. And I reckon they could slide out. If they keep losing games, there's every chance that they slide out of this competition. It would be a bit funny. But anyway, continue.
I want you guys to put your big kahunas on the line here. The Cronulla Sharks end the year top 4, top 8, or out of the 8 altogether. They'll miss finals football. Tyler, I'll go to you first.
I think they just sneak into the 8 for me. If they showed at the start of the season, if they can pick it up, they are great. But if they can't, then they're quite frankly awful. But I think they make the 8. I think they make the 8. I'll stick with that.
Goosey?
I reckon they make 8th, like just straight hidden 8th. Just they get it. They get there on the last game. They sneak in, cheeky one. I think they're just gonna scrape in just.
If they don't make the 8, Like if they finish any other position other than 8th position, are you confident about that?
Nah, just straight 8th position.
All right, so 8. Let's go
I'm
lock
just
in
taking a
8.
guess.
You're
Yeah,
locked in for 8th. You think
let's
that's
give it a
it?
go. 8th. That's it.
If they finish any other position other than 8th, live on air, you shave your head.
Okay, no, that's too far.
Why? You're confident.
I'll go. Let me have a look.
I'll give you something here, Goosey. Is I just looked at their
Yeah.
draw. They verse one top 8 team in the next, and like till the end of season, and that is the team currently coming 8th. That is it. That is the only top 8 team that they verse for the rest of the year.
Goosey, you got to shave little pubes at the bottom of your chin there.
They also have one bye. Just so you're
Hurry
aware.
up. We're
But
live
then
on
those
air.
are
I
the
want to move
Warriors,
on.
so like that's an automatic. Nah, give me 7 and 8. 7 and 8.
If they finish 7, and if they finish any other position other than 7th or 8th, shave live on air.
Shave my head.
Yeah. Think of the content.
Yeah, why not? Fuck it.
Done. Locked
Why
in.
not?
Jakey boy.
Yeah.
4th,
They will-
top 4,
they will-
top 8,
they will not-
or bottom out of the finals.
Oh, look, I am going to say that they'll stay in the top 8 after looking at their draw that they have for the rest of this year. It's actually pretty good. With the draw that I'm looking at, they could finish top 4. It's actually very possible. But I think they're in a slight dip. I'm going to say top 8, high top 8, so 5th or 6th, like just out of the top 4.
Yeah, look, I'm going to save Goosey here. I actually think the bottom part of the 8, they're in a real slump. I know they've got a good draw. They've had a good draw for the last few weeks as well and haven't been able to do much with it. So I'm a bit concerned with them, but I think they've got the talent to come and pull it together. We'll see what they do. So I'll lock them in for the bottom part of the 8, but goodness me, there's some teams coming now that are in some serious form. And like we talk about teams not out of the 8, like they could be coming up against, say, the Rabbitohs, the Cowboys. Actually, sorry, Cowboys are in the 8. Rabbitohs. There's a couple
They
other
come up
teams
against
just
the
outside of
Cowboys.
the 8. Yeah, just outside the 8 that are in form at the moment as well that you wouldn't want to be versing. So sent on the weekend against the Titans, who are looking a lot better of a team than what their later position has them as well. Let's talk about the Warriors. Let's give the floor to Goosey. Unfortunate loss yesterday. Very gallant effort, to be honest. I was starting to cheer for him. I'll give you that much, Goosey. They lost that many players. They lost 2 of their backs. They're down, I think, 1-man bench for about 20 minutes or something of the last bit of that game, plus the 10-minute of overtime, basically. A penalty that should have been given that wasn't. Jamin Salmon took out Tamari Martin high as anything. I think he's now been suspended for it as well for at least, I think it was 2 to 3 weeks, depending on if he fights it or not, the charge. So the NRL's basically admitted, yeah, it was high. So that's a huge fuck up by the referees. That's something that is inexcusable at this day and age, where the referee's right there, the bunker's there. We should not be getting that sort of stuff wrong. I don't take away the emotion out of this game that the Warriors were very good, great effort. That's just a plain black and white decision that we've seen many games this year where that's been a penalty, and sometimes it's been a 10 in the bin. This one was just looked over and said, "No, play on. It's all good." Like, I don't care what time of the game these sorts of things are happening. We need to officiate it properly, not put the whistles away, be gutless, and not make the decisions, the tough ones. Goosey, what are you feeling though? You're a Waz fan, so I'll let you go off a bit.
I'll keep it a little bit tamed. I think the game
No,
itself.
go off. You can talk here. Just don't get us in trouble.
The game itself was an amazing game. Like the Bulldogs turned up, the Warriors turned up. Obviously, we lost a couple of people. That's footy, you know. You lose people, people get injured. We had a debutant playing out in right center. He looked sharp as Lecker.
Oh yeah, he was awesome. Number 23.
Yeah, he was killer. Yeah,
he was killing it.
But it's just the fact that like yeah, maybe like the ref missed it or something. Like his eyes are going on. But then after the play dies down, they go to the bunker, and then under 10 seconds, they're like, "Oh, contact cleared." They hardly even looked at the contact. Salmon's bleeding from his face. Tamari Martin's holding his jaw. Like, you got to be looking at it a little bit deeper more than that. And that's with 2 minutes left to go in the game. You have a 1 minute shot clock to take the kick. You take the kick. All they got to do is get the kick off and they win the game. But, it's rugby league, mistakes happen, but it's like the ladder is so close. Like, those 2 points could be costly for the Warriors now.
And the thing is, it wasn't just high; it was very late as well. I
Yeah,
thought
exactly.
It was easily able to pull out of that, and he overcommitted himself. And I just thought it was an obvious penalty that was missed.
Yeah.
Tyler, no obvious fan, but just of the game, it wasn't a good look. I thought.
No, it really, really wasn't. I don't understand how it wasn't a penalty. And I've seen a lot of Dogs fans even come out and say, look, it probably was a penalty, but we'll take it anyway. And,
Of course
you
they
know,
would.
Sorry, Jack?
I said, of course they would. Why wouldn't you?
Well,
Of
yeah.
course you're going to take the win.
That's exactly right. But, you know, like it's at least, you know, they're not that big-headed that they can say, look, it probably was. But, you know, that happens in... Yeah, it happens in football. Referees make mistakes, and I said it before on, I think it was the quick dumps. You know, we're not going to send them a gift basket to say sorry. Sorry, Goosey, I know you were expecting one, but it's not coming, bro. But you know, it's one of the hardest jobs in the world, and I don't think people realize, you know, how much that is. But I'm going to reiterate it until we get something like a VAR where they can pinpoint the exact moment where it goes wrong. They're not you're going to have mistakes all the time, and even VAR gets it wrong. I think Warriors are very, very unlucky to lose that, and I think they probably win if they don't have their injuries.
I get sort of what you're saying is it's a hard job. But my comeback on that is I think we've got to stop making these piss weak excuses for him, because that was obvious. That was an obvious area that was so clear that they shouldn't be made. Like, these are professionals. Like, I can understand the ones like weekend referees that are refereeing pub football, park football. I can understand that because a lot of them are just volunteers doing their best. So no worries. These guys are first grade NRL referees. They're paid a very good salary to do this day in, day out. They're training just as hard as first grade footballers are to do their profession right. We're happy to bag out players when they get it wrong. We're happy to bag out coaches when they get it wrong. The referees have to cop it. I'm sick of these people going, oh, it's a hard job, but we've got to respect the referees. Yes, we've got to respect the referees, but we've also got to hold them accountable, because we're getting to the business end. We're about to have the showpiece event of the year in Origin Decider. This sort of thing, you can't be having this happen. Like, that was a shocking, shocking decision. And Jay, like, it's just not a good look for the game at all. And like, we're not a Dogs or a Warriors fan, but I felt passionate about it just because of how wrong it was.
Yeah. Oh, look, I am, again, not somebody who likes to try to bag out referees, but you're right. It's just everyone's been noticing it recently that they are ruining the sport. I believe the referees are ruining the sport of rugby league recently. Like, they're actually making it not enjoyable to watch some games where you're even a neutral supporter and you're just going like, what the how is that even, like, how have you not noticed that you get paid probably triple what I get paid in a year to specifically do that? Like, that is your job. That is what you are paid to do. If I messed up that bad and I gave the kids the wrong assessment task, I'd get fired. Or I don't know, something like that. I'm just like, whatever. It made a massive difference to the Warriors. I would say, yes, they were robbed, especially with how hard they were playing, with the people that are missing. I'd say that's a dead set highway robbery. But I also was looking at the points that they're on. If they win that, they're on 19, which puts them down into 11th place. Up into 11th place from 14th. And the Bulldogs would have shifted, because they wouldn't be on 22, they'd be on 20. They would have shifted down into 8th place, and it would have pushed the Cowboys down. So it would have had massive ramifications for the entire competition too, not just for that game. Like, it makes a huge difference. That puts that would have put the Warriors one win away from being in the 8. Like, that's just such a huge effect on them.
100%. And I'll finish this with the Warriors and move on a bit, because there is a bit to talk about when it comes to the Blues and a few more points to come. I'm declaring it now. I think the Warriors are a better team without Sean Johnson in it, as harsh as it is to say. But that's something we can get to probably on the Wednesday show and talk a bit more in detail about. But it's actually pretty eye-opening. I've realised this year how different of a football team they look without him, and probably how much of a better football team they actually look like this year. And that's not trying to disrespect Sean Johnson at all, because we've seen this with players on not just rugby league, but any other sport where they'll just go that 1 year too many, and unfortunately, it has a negative, negative effect on the team. I just think some of their younger players just look like they're up to the modern game, and unfortunately, whether it's injuries or whatever Sean Johnson's got this year, he just looks about 2 steps behind at the moment where he should be, and he was last year. Boys, fan of Golden Point. We had a few close ones this weekend. We had a couple of Golden Point games. I want to ask you guys your opinions, whether you're a fan of the Golden Point as it is at the moment, if you'd like it changed, and if you want it changed, what would you change it to? Jakey boy, I'll start with you.
Golden try. Get rid of Golden Point. All it is you're watching an extra 10 minutes of people take 4 tackles up, set up for a conversion, a goal kick, a bloody field goal, and then try to kick it under pressure. It's boring. You know what? The actual competition would be a lot more interesting if there were a few more 1 points spread amongst it and you had golden try in there. Because either you're getting a really awesome game or you're getting 1 point put into the game, which I just think is interesting, or however you would decide to do it, whether it be, they do decide to go for that field goal and then, the time still plays out, or however they would decide to do it. Like, I would prefer golden try personally. I think that's the way that they should do it, because the competition would be a lot more interesting if there was one more, like if there were 1 point skewed up in amongst it, and then you might have to, people might be playing for a draw in a game as opposed to a try, and then it means the games aren't out of control then, and it's a bit like, might make the end of competition a bit more interesting as well, especially with a tight ladder like this. Golden try all the way.
Yeah. No, Goosey, what about yours?
I actually like that. Like, I was thinking, just kind of playing just like at the end of the 80 minutes, that's the end of the footy game. But now that you say that, like, that sounds awesome. Like, get the like golden try. Like, if you score a try, game over. But if you kick the field goal, you still got to play out the other 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's awesome. I think that sounds like that. Like, that's just more entertaining than taking 4 rucks down the field and trying to kick it from 40 meters, because that's where you get it, to sky it to the right, and then it's a 7 tackle set, and they do the exact same thing. And the Warriors suck at it. So
every single time. Well, so do the Cowboys.
It's just like that.
Goosey's just having a dance off with himself. How good is that? Tyler, what do you got for yours? What's your opinion?
I would like to see, I'm on board with Jakey there. I'd love to see a golden try, but I don't think they'll bring it in just for the fact of how long it's been, Golden Point. Look, the Cowboys game kind of annoyed me a bit, because you could see every time they were going to try and set up for that, that Golden Point field goal, and you knew it was going to happen eventually, and you knew I personally knew from the start that DCE was always going to be the one to ice it, just because he's...
Hey, hang on. What annoyed me most about that was the fact that they kept giving it to Townsend to kick, and he's their 4th best field goal kicker in that team. What the fuck were you thinking, Cowboys? I'm not even a fan of you, and he was one of the last people I would have given it to.
You just saw Drinkwater kick one from 40 and get the 2 points. Why are you not hitting it back to him?
Send it back to him. Yeah.
And then Val's just sitting there catching a cold, like, honestly.
Well, to be fair, anyway. Val did have an attempt with no pressure on him and absolutely whiffed it. So to be fair,
yeah,
he missed one from one. Chad missed none from 3, 4.
Yeah,
he was just. Roosters would have been thinking, "Oh, here we go. Here's our reserve halfback for next year." So, look, I feel like I'm old school. I actually would just sort of what Goosey was saying. I wouldn't mind just a draw after 80 minutes. Everyone both teams gets a point, away you go. But I know from like a game point of view and a TV thing, and you want to add excitement, they want the golden point thing. So I'd have it an automatic 10-minute period, and after that, it's finished. So if someone kicks a field goal in the first set of that 10-minute period, the game keeps going, so that teams can keep going if they can go back, get another field goal if they want, or it encourages teams early on in those periods to go for the try, to get up extra points and stuff. And the other thing is, referees won't put the whistle away, because I've go back to those 2 games that were in golden point period and it was close towards the end. Nothing was getting called because the referee doesn't want to impact the game, similar to what happened with the Warriors and Dogs game, where if the referees know in the back of their mind, they got 10 minutes to make up for this, they'll rule the offside. They'll rule the play in the ruck where they just weren't doing it. So that frees the referees up a bit, probably takes a bit of pressure off them. And I just think it gives both teams a bit of a chance to probably get some dominance on that early field position with that 5-5 each way. It gets really hard. I think it's only ends up being 3 sets each or something, which isn't much football, and gives them a chance to actually get something done with it. The big guns flexing, boys. We've seen on the weekend all three of, for mine, the big three this year, Penrith Panthers, the Melbourne Storm, and the Sydney Roosters, put in some really good displays. I thought the Broncos were quite good on Friday night, and the Panthers were just simply better. The Melbourne Storm, we said the Tigers look like they aimed up a bit at Leichhardt Oval as well, where they gain an extra leg. But the Storm were able to do some things, and honestly, that's still Fa'alonga coming off the bench and doing what he does. That's scary. That just adds another element to a scary Melbourne Storm side who were without Cameron Munster and Harry Grant on the weekend. Like, wait till they get their spine back, and it's just scary. The Roosters today, I think the Roosters comp to lose at the moment. I've got them just ahead in this, and the other two very, very close behind. It's scary for mine how good the Roosters are looking at this time of year, where they normally time their run a little bit later. They're playing some very, very good football. So I want to ask you, boys, with the big guns flexing their muscles at the moment, sort of where you got them all, and if there's someone that is leading the way for you out of these three, who is it and why, Tyler?
Look, I'll go Penrith. No, I'm going to go Roosters. I'm going to stick with you, Joel. I thought the Broncos and Penrith game was a bit of a snooze fest, to be honest. As a neutral, it was just kind of, whatever. It's a football game, I suppose. But you know, I think Roosters have been on fire. Dominic Young was one of the smartest signings they've made in recent time. I still don't understand how Newcastle let him go. I don't know how much money the Roosters had offered him, but Newcastle really should have just thrown the checkbook and say, look, sign here, sign whatever number. We'll make it work. We'll sell McDonald Jones Stadium and play at the local football park for you, like we'll make you this star, because he is a star, and he's the best winger in the comp at the moment, in my opinion. I think he's better than Totwell. I think he's, probably matching Lomax's form at the moment. And there's no other real wingers that stick out to me apart from them. But I think it's Roosters comp to lose.
Coates, potentially. Xavier Coates.
Yeah, but now that he's been injured, I don't think he can really be in that conversation, because he's been injured twice this year already. I know Young was suspended for a few games at the start there, but I think that was a bit of a blood rush to the head. But I think it's Roosters' competition to lose here.
Goosey, out of the three, who you got at the moment ahead?
I think the Storm will finish minor premiers, but I agree with the Roosters. They're just like, the thing about like their forward pack, like you're just starting with Lindsay Collins and JWH, and then you got Terrell May and all the Mays, bro. They all got one brain cell combined. Terrell May and Spencer Lino coming off the bench. Like, bro, that's just insane. And the forward pack, Angus Crichton's in form. Like the team's just stacked. Like you got to find out like what they're doing under the sombrero. But like the way that they have so much quality is just insane. Like it's so good.
The sombrero is what it is, I guess, but their side is very, very scary this year. That forward pack, as you said, like as a team, like an opposition forward pack, when you're versing them, you're probably thinking, let's just get through the 25-minute stint and then we get to breathe a bit. But then you're welcoming Terrell May and Spencer Leniu. Goodness me, there is no time for breathing. And then Brandon Smith goes off and Connor Watson goes into hooking role as well. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. Victor Radley, I thought Victor Radley was really good at the start of the year. but his game has gone to another level in the back row. I've actually got to give Robinson credit here because I actually thought it was the dumbest move ever because he was playing so well there. But it's actually turned out to be a great move. He's been really, really good on the edge. And we haven't even spoke about Angus Crichton yet either, who's just been ridiculous as well all year. Probably the form back rower, if not form forward of the competition. Jake, who you got ahead for those three?
No, I've still got the Panthers, unfortunately. I hate them at this point. They've won too much and I'm over it. But I do hate to say it, but they are coming second with 26 competition points. And they have played most of the season without their best player and their halfback, Nathan Cleary. We are waiting for him to come back, and when he comes back, they're just going to go back to flogging people. Like, they've had people away during the Origin period, like they always do. And, yeah, they lost a game in there against the Cowboys or whatever, whoever it was. They lost a game in there without like 90% of their team because they're all play Origin. Like, we know that's going to happen once a year. That's okay. But they'll come back. They'll make a big fire towards the end of the season, especially with Nathan Cleary back in the side. And he's fresh. Like, he's going to be fresh going into that finals competition. He's going to be each week less of that fatigue that he would have all season. He will be midway through the season for himself as opposed to everyone else being at the end of the season. I just think they have no real reason why they cannot go 4 in a row. It's not impossible. Like, again, they're coming second in the competition where they haven't had their halfback for how long? They've got a reserve grade halfback in Schneider playing every week and nailing it. So I don't know. Yeah, look, you can say the Cowboys had 90% of their players out, Andrew, and I'm willing to give you that. But you know what? If you put both teams at full strength against each other, I'm willing to bet you my house that the Panthers would win. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, you're right. And Tyler, just a quick fan question. We answer on the spot. Please get your comments in, your questions. Is Tyler writing a blog?
No, currently I'm writing an email. That is my mistake. I didn't realize that you boys could hear my keyboard. I will mute myself from now on.
Who are you writing an email to the NRL? Have you got something you want to reach out to them about maybe Golden Pool?
I'm just writing a personal letter to Trent Barrett, just attaching it at head office and, see how that goes.
Are you applying for the head coaching position, Tyler?
Oh, look, honestly, I'd probably be better, and I'll take my payments in double quarter pounders.
Yeah.
All right, it's time to talk New South Wales. Goosey's favourite topic. Release their squad because, again, we go early because we don't give a shit. We'll let Queensland look at our team and try and match up position on position because it worked well for you game 2. Absolutely embarrassing effort by the Queenslanders once again. But game 3 here is the team. Fullback Dylan Edwards. On the wings, Brian To'o, Zach Lomax. In the centres, Bradman Best with Stephen Crichton. Your halves, Jerome Luai, Mitchell Moses. The forward pack, Jake Trbojevic, captain with Payne Haas, Reece Robinson at hooker. Liam Martin, Angus Crichton, and Cam Murray. And in the back row and lock. On the bench, Connor Watson, Isaiah Yeo, Spencer Leniu. And that is the team. Oh, hang on, I've forgotten one. 16. Mitch Barnett, Daddy Barnett. Goosey, I think, live on air, can we confirm that you're actually going for New South Wales in this game?
No, I'm going for Queensland and Mitchell Barnett. That's it. Yeah, it's my love.
Oh, guys, you know by now how obsessed this kid is with Mitchell Barnett. So the news came through, and I don't want to really repeat what he said in the chat. He might want to put himself out there and say that. That's great content if he does, but it was a moment. Let's just say that it was a moment, and I knew what was coming because I heard a whisper around about an hour before the team was released that he was going to get a spot on the bench. It's for Hamola Olakau'atu, and obviously Best comes in for Latrell Mitchell. Juicy, I'll get you out of the way early. Talk about Mitch Barnett. Off you go. So the other boys can actually talk to
The bro plays like 90 minutes in the game against the Bulldogs. 253 meters, 53 tackles. The bro's just an absolute machine. I said it since day one, G. He should have been in the game 1 squad. You would have won it. Just kidding. You guys don't get Origin. But you can have game 2. We just want to make it fun. But about time you got him in the squad. But yeah, it should be good though.
Getting your asses beat or what?
Pardon, sorry?
Make it fun by getting your asses beat or what? Sorry, I'll just say it slow for you because you're a Queenslander.
I don't know. You guys would know, being ill supporters about getting your asses beaten. So, you guys might know. So
We're
like
not
I don't want to
talking
like
about that. We're
You really
talking
set us
Origin.
up there, Jakey.
Imagine being
talking
two
Origin.
places higher than us on the ladder and still talking shit.
Mate, I'll take those 2 places because it might not be like that at the end of the end of the NRL season. So I'll take it
Mate,
while we can. But
we
enough.
won't catch up to you. So that's enough from a Queenslander because I don't care what you think about our team.
also, apparently
Uh,
Dave Fafita's been overlooked, so I don't think I'm watching the game anymore.
Yeah, I heard that
Yeah,
rumor
I
come
heard
through
Nick
just
was
on a
in.
message. On a
Him
message
and
as
Sewer.
well. So
Yeah. I don't care
apparently
what's
Peter is getting overlooked again. No, nothing's confirmed, I think, till tomorrow morning for this Queensland team. But for now, it
So that leaves-
appears David Fafita has been overlooked. So
That leaves 2 options: Lukey or Bo Fermor. I don't want either of them.
Fermor's been good this year.
Yeah, he's
I'll
good.
give him that. But David Fafita's
Origin
David
level
Fafita.
good?
He scares the shit out of me as a New South Wales fan.
How are
Jakey,
you not?
what do you think of the and mate? It's not about shut up, Queensland. No one gives a shit about you. Billy doesn't know what he's doing anymore. Billy's thrown. Billy's done.
I'm
Look
sorry,
how he
guys. I'm
carries
sorry.
himself.
I'm sorry.
And just remember, you're Queenslanders. You're Queenslanders. So, Jake, what do you think of the lineups?
Oh
The
yeah, look, I
lineup.
mean, obviously there are only 2 changes, but Bradman Best was who I was hoping was able to be ready for game 1 of this season. So I'm actually pretty happy with him being in there because I think that last game in game 3 of last year he stepped up. He looked really really good in blue. He did really well. So I'm predicting he'll just come in, do a job. He may not do necessarily, he might not be able to do a flick pass as well as Latrell Mitchell can, but you know what? I don't think he's going to let anyone get past him in defense. And I think if he needs to, he can put a try on himself. So I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, Mitch Barnett's a workhorse. I'm obviously happy to get him in there. And I also thought that Olika Watu wasn't used potentially as effectively as he could have been in games 1 and 2. I just don't know that he's an off the bench in the middle kind of player. Like, don't get me wrong, he's aggressive, he runs hard. But was he even did he get played in the second row when he came on? Like, he didn't feel like he did. I think he got
I think it was
played.
in the middle.
I think it was middle.
Yeah, so
I think.
like he's a line running back rower, and that's what he does best. But at the same time, that's not what he's getting used for. So why are we playing him? Whereas we can play a prop to do a prop's job, which is what we have there. So I'm definitely okay with getting Mitch Barnett in there. I think it's going to be very nerve wracking for him in game 3 to just debut off, to debut in the big one of the biggest games ever for him. But I think he'll come in off the bench and he'll do a job. Everyone else in the 1 to 13 has to do the job first, and then he has to come in and he'll match that energy, I think, and he'll do a job.
There is another change I would have liked to have seen, but I'll get into that in a little bit. Tyler, I'll get your thoughts first about the team. Hopefully you finished that email that you needed to do up for the Parramatta club. What are your thoughts on the 2 changes that have been made?
I quite like it. I think Mitch Barnett's been awesome all this year. And, I think he probably deserves to be in there over Hamole. Also based on form at club level this year, I think he's been awesome. And Bradman Best, look, I'll put my hands up and say, well done, Latrell. You did well in game 2. You proved me wrong. And that's what I want from players when I say, they're lazy or, I don't think they're going to do well. I want them to prove me wrong. And that's why I say it, because at this point,
True.
But I think Bradman Best is awesome. He didn't have one of the best games of his career today, but he's been great when he's been playing this season, and I think he was the right pick there. I saw a couple of weird shouts for Turbo to come back in there. I don't think that's, he's not a centre. I think we saw that on the weekend. His defensive reads are just not there, not quite there as a centre. And I watched a set there where he made 3 tackles, yes, but he was over the other side of the field, and I was like, where the fuck are you going? You've completely left that winger isolated, wide open. But they didn't score off it anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But I think this is a good team. I really enjoyed Connor Watson in 14 last game. There was a few question marks around him, Joel. I know especially from you, but I think he came on and brought a little bit of diversity into that. And hopefully we can go up against Queensland, who know nothing about Origin.
Well, I just
Yeah,
want to
they're
say,
cool.
like, there's one person that could have played center. You could have had Taylor May come in and play center, I think. But like, you never know. Like,
Mate,
he could have
no
done the
one here
job.
likes Taylor May, so the joke doesn't even work for us. Like, we're glad he's gone. So I feel like he's a Parramatta player or something, and we've got a soft spot for him. He's a grub. See you later.
Yeah, no,
Hope he
no,
doesn't
like,
come back. I don't mind the changes. I think the changes are decent. I feel sort of what Jake's saying for Olakwatu. I actually feel for him because they hadn't used him the way that they probably should have. But I also don't blame Madge for that because both Martin and Crichton have been fantastic pretty much all series so far. And in my opinion, Angus Crichton's probably player of the series if we have to give one at the moment. I think he's been absolutely sensational both games. And you can't give him a rest when they're in that sort of form. And Martin was just hitting blokes for fun in game 2. So Queensland was scared shitless of him. My question mark around this team is just the fact Isaiah Yeo's on the bench still. I just don't get Isaiah Yeo on the bench. I really don't. For mine is either the starting 13, which I don't think he is in this team. I think Cam Murray is a better 13 than he is at this level. So for mine, you'd be putting another bench prop forward on the team. So for mine, Terrell May just speaks to volumes to me, and I feel like should have been on this team. Like, I think he's been sensational this year. I think he's been the best bench forward in the game this year, and I just
Except for maybe Spencer.
What was that?
Except for maybe Spencer, Lenny, potentially.
Yeah, just the fact that Lenny's been suspended for, what was it, 8 weeks?
Yeah.
So May was
Yeah, true.
producing throughout that. So I know what you're saying though. Like, probably both of them together, how good is that combination? Both of them coming on at the same time, just bashing Queensland. I just don't get Isaiah Yeo because he's coming on playing that forward role where he's game 2, he was basically told, and I heard Madge say, like, pretty much put the offload away, just put the passing game away, just run up and hard and straight. That's not his natural game. That's not him as a player. So it's sort of, in a way, for mine, just there's an easy out for Queensland where there's a weak link, in my opinion, because that's not his strong point. That's not his game. And that's something that Queensland can probably exploit when Isaiah does come on and playing that prop forward, where if like Terrell May's coming on, you're scared shitless because the guy's a freak. He does ridiculous numbers week in, week out. And if, say, there's a big blow with like Payne Haas or Trbojevic goes down early and we're down a player, Terrell May can get through huge minutes. Not saying Isaiah can't, but he can get through huge minutes playing a prop role, where I just don't know if Isaiah Yeo can do that. So that's my only question mark. Do you boys have any question marks around the team that there's been hasn't been a change, or someone you'd like come in, or you're happy to just stick solid? Let's go.
My thing with what you've just been saying is, look, it's game 3. It's at Suncorp. Don't get me wrong, I agree. Like, I think that Terrell May would do that role better than what Isaiah Yeo would. But you cannot, I don't think you can make that change for no reason and do too many changes to a team that won in game 2 at Melbourne. At Suncorp in game 3 in that arena, especially with, is it not Terrell May's first season, or is it maybe potentially second season in the NRL?
I think it's his second.
No, I thought it was his debut season. Right. Well, either way, I still say that you probably wouldn't make that change, going into such a huge game. I know he could handle it and could do it, but you never know what's going to happen in those really high stakes games either.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I do get that. It's a big venue. We know that. So, Tyler, like, you got one.
I'm going to go in here and say I still don't think Jake should be captain. I understand that we can't change it now, but what has he done? What has he done the past 2 games? I don't understand what the thought is behind there. He's not a club captain. DCE's got that. What makes you think he possesses captaincy? Captaincy
qualities.
Thank you, Jake. I think that the future is now, and we should, as much as I don't like the Bulldogs, I think we should be putting Critter as captain.
Oh, that's huge. That's a huge one.
I think if you were going to go anyone else for captain, you'd go Cameron Murray, personally.
That's a decent shout. I think, like I said, I've said this before. I feel like whoever's captain at the moment is literally just holding out for Nathan Cleary being fit next year, and he'll take it for the next probably 10 years. To be honest, that's
What do you mean, mate? Moses is going to play next year. I don't know what you're talking about. Moses is going to play next year and every year onwards.
It'll be Moses and Cleary together. That's what it will be.
Oh,
so
true. Sorry, true.
LOI goes to halfback next year full on. So I don't know if he'll get looking again at 5'8", even though he can do the job. But ideally, like that was going to be the starting half and 5'8" if it was Moses and Cleary both fit. Tyler, I'll sort of sell to you and back up Jake Trbojević's selection and captaincy. Are you questioning the selection or just the captaincy?
Captaincy for now.
Okay.
Until he gets a full series under his belt, I will back him as a selection. But what I'll say is he hasn't impressed me much the first 2 games, so he needs to have a big game 3 or start putting the Foot Falcons on and piss back off to Manly.
I feel like Madge is to blame more than anyone for this, because obviously game 1 we go back and that losing that one player just meant straight away it didn't suit Jake Trbojević's game, I guess, but that was Madge's impression. But then if people can wind their minds back, a week or 2 later, Manly were put into a similar sort of position where I think they were down 1 or 2 players, or they were down to no players on the bench for like a 30-minute period towards the end of the game, and they're all playing. Gerbo was one of those on the field, and he was one of the crucial players in that team for that period. He did a really good job, has a motor and a half on him. So I think Madge underplayed Jake Trbojević's style of play in game 1 and how much he could have helped that team. Game 2, we were on the front foot the whole game, and I just felt like when we've got some of our edge back rowers playing the way they were, Lenu was on fire once again. I think give Isaiah Yeo some more minutes. Look, you could argue it'd be great to see Jake on the field with the boys a bit more, but it was kind of working. So if Isaiah Yeo sort of doing that game that, as I said, in game 2, he actually did it half decently, him and like then Payne Haas comes on. Like if you have the choice between Payne Haas or Jake Trbojević to come back in the game, you're choosing Payne Haas every day of the week. So it's sort of like, did he do the captaincy thing then and just do the best thing for the team by playing less than minutes? I'm not sure. But Goosey, do you have anyone there that sticks out as captaincy then as a Queenslander? Someone here you go, oh, he scares me. Obviously, Jakey Boy's the nice guy.
Yeah. Nah, I don't know. I feel like obviously Nathan, I agree with the Nathan Cleary shout that he will be the captain when he comes back from injury, because he is just the man. But I think, yeah, it's got to be going with Jake. It's got to be like Cam Murray, or it's got to be like, honestly, like a rogue shout. But like, I think Dylan Edwards could be a shout. I think he's just got like a calm, collective head. I don't know if I'm reading it wrong, but I think he's just calm, collective. Like he's always got his head screwed on. He's always there backing up for the team. He's always giving his 100. He's there from the left side to the right side of the field, just going, and he just keeps going. But
I thought you would have said that Mitch Barnett should have been the captain.
Well, see, like you can't be captain from the bench, even though Gerbo does captain from the bench. But like
Isaiah Yeo turned into captain when he goes off.
Jakey I agree that he shouldn't be there, Isaiah Yeo. I don't think he should be in the
thanks,
squad.
bro. Now you're in my good books. Now you're sucking up to the box.
Good way to end it. Good way to end
it. Jakey boy, you're going to stick up for your name counterpart here and stick up for a fellow Jake?
I will. And I'm going to say the reason, obviously, is not that his name is Jake, although it does help his case. All Jakes have been known to be born with extraordinary leadership qualities.
Large penises.
But, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, thank you. What can I say? But what I would say about Jake is it seems like he brings a stability to the team. Now, we've injected a bunch of new players into this side. It's a very full-on, fast-paced team, right? And I think that type of team can get away from it's like can either overthink or underthink very quickly. It can be like trying to go too fast and to score really quickly. And I think he would have a very calming presence, I'd imagine. Like I think he would be that guy that, you have Mitchell Moses like flipping out over something or other, and he's going to go, mate, Mitch, calm it down. Like, this isn't the time to be doing that. And for Charlie in the comments who said how's he still captain when he played 26 minutes in game one. Again, they were a man down, and he like Madge said that he didn't see him suiting that style, which I don't know that I get on board with. I think that he actually brings a very defensive mindset and a very safe mindset into the game, where a lot of us the Blues team is so attack minded. I'm actually really happy with him at captain because I don't see anyone else in that team where I go they should be the captain over him. I'm actually pretty happy with him in there.
The last thing on the Blues, I'll just say this. I think it's a really strong side. I think it's one that deep down Queenslanders are worried about and actually genuinely think this might be it. This might be the time where we can win a decider up at Suncorp. It is a beast. It is a wild, wild beast. We all know that. We're not going to undersell it. But I think this is a group that can literally go up there and just say, fuck it. We're better than this. And game 2 form is huge. Like the form difference between the two teams for that game is huge. And that has to play in to game 3 because the difference between game 1 and game 2 for mine, Queensland don't have the benefit of what New South Wales had in game 1 where they go, we were down a player for 72 minutes. It was both teams full strength pretty much going back and forth. And that 40-minute display especially is probably the best 40 minutes of State of Origin football I've ever seen. And that's not trying to overhype it. That was literally, I've watched it a few times now and everything that could go right did. And it was the fact that it wasn't like they got lucky. Like people were talking about the penalty counts and such and the 60 goes. It wasn't that. New South Wales just looked so hungry. It looked like they were starving for 3 days straight before they ran into that. So if there's a team that can do it, it's a difficult task, but I think it is this New South Wales Blues side. A couple of questions to finish off, guys. Get them in if you haven't done so already. We've got a few saved. Shane started just quietly. What's Para going to do and Roosters sign Dylan Brown for 2025? Well,
probably just keep losing.
Who knows? I've heard rumors that it might be Moses, not Brown, but who knows?
Yeah, Brown's going to the Warriors.
Oh, if we can't start that again, he's already said that some podcast made that rumor.
No,
I hope you're not right, but we will see. We'll just move on, guys. We'll have I don't even know because Sanders is going as well. Sarkis, this was from earlier. Can the Panthers be the premiership winners again this year and rate them out of 10? Well, Jake sort of has said that you will be. What do you rate him out of 10? I guess our overall rating for the team, Jake's going to give him a 10 then if he hasn't that high.
Well, they're coming second without their halfback for half the season. They have to get a 10, I reckon. That's an A+. Like, that's, what are you going to,
Yeah, but then the Storm are coming first without Cam Munster.
What? They have Tyron Wishart, who I would argue is significantly better than Brad Schneider in that secondary role. They tend to have, I was about to say they have better depth. They don't necessarily have better depth than the Panthers. The Panthers are known for their depth. But the Storm just seem to have players who could play anywhere on that back line and succeed at it easily. Like their backups aren't Dejan Arce and Morgan Harper. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they have.
Yeah, that club must suck, bro.
Can we start talking? Bringing Parramatta up, please. I'm over it. Goosey, can Penrith win the comp? And what do you rate him out of 10?
Yeah, I reckon that they could easily win the comp if they come back. Cleary comes back firing, like they catch some form after Origin. All the boys are fresh. Coming back, after New South Wales lose, they shed a couple of tears. They come back strong. Like I think, they could easily win the comp. Like the top 3, the big dogs that we're talking about, like any of them could easily win the comp. And I would give Penrith like a 9 out of 10.
Tyler, what do you got for us to end things?
Yeah, it is. Okay.
I'm gonna go with a 7 out of 10 this year. I think they're third in a third 3-horse race. I think both Melbourne and Roosters kind of pip them to the premiership, in my opinion. And I'm also going to touch on something there, Joel, with that you said with Storm. I don't think Pappenhausen's that good. He's made of glass. He can run, and well done.
What?
I think Farlongo's a better fullback than him. It may maybe let's get 2 seasons under your belt where you don't shatter your knee, and we'll see how good you are then. But
that's pretty harsh, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's pretty tough.
Look, it is what it is. But I've never been a big fan of him, and I stand by that, and I also stand by the fact that Tom Trbojevic isn't the best, the best fullback that everyone makes him out to be. He's also made of glass. If you can run fast.
Just be
You have great
careful. Just be careful, because Clint Gutherson only has one knee at the moment. Just be careful.
No, I know, and he's shitting me off as well. And I'd never say he's the best fullback in the league. But you can have running, you can have great footwork, you can have passing.
Where's Ponga in your ratings?
On the concussion bench.
I feel like you have a bit of a bias against injured people, Tyler. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I feel
that was the point that I was getting to, Jake.
Question: where's Nathan Cleary in your halfbacks? Because mine is number one.
Bottom 17.
He's number
down
one
the
for
bottom.
me.
Get rid of him. He's injured, mate. He's injured. He's
injured. He's gone. He's gone.
This season, I think he probably sits second behind Luke.
Jerome Hughes.
Christ, no.
Luke Keary.
Not Keary. Sam Walker.
Jerome Hughes.
Sorry. I think Sam Walker's been better than him this season, just because he hasn't played this season, and that's if I was going to say, would I rather Cleary at half cock, or Keary at not fucking Keary, Walker.
Cleary.
Jesus Christ. Walker at full health. I would take Walker over a half right Cleary.
Are you telling me Sam Walker is better than Jerome Hughes?
No.
Okay, well, just making sure. Well, you said he was the best. You said you would put Cleary second behind Sam Walker. So that means Sam Walker's number one.
He's got to go back to his list. We'll get Tyler's updated list off air. We'll let him have some time to write the players down so he doesn't forget anyone and he does embarrass himself. So I feel like this could quickly go downhill for Tyler. I'll say one thing. I just feel like with the injured players, like we're talking about some of the greats like Ponga, Turbo, Happy. These are players who are excitement machines, yes, but they're also one of the best in their position when they're fit. Like there's an argument that this year, 100%, they're not the form players in their position because they haven't been fit. So you can't put them up there. And 100%, Suafai-Longo has been a better player than Pappen has been this year, out of the fact that Sua's been playing. But if we're going to rate him, Pappy is the better fullback because of what he's done in the past. He was, this time, what was it, last year or the year before, he was going to get chosen for the Blues. And he got injured, I think, the week or two before game one. So he missed out on selection. I think it was going to be on a 14-year-old and just go in for Teddy or go in as that sort of roving player. But he's a freak. I think all rugby league fans want him to be fit. And we just forget sometimes how good these players can be because they've been out for periods of time. It's like Munster at the moment. People probably forget how good Munster is, especially in the big games. Queensland, for mine, would probably have won the series by now if Munster was playing because he's a big game player. He would have stepped up in game 2 and turned the momentum around. He would have been able to do all that literally by himself because he's that good. They really miss him in this series, and another reason why I think the Blues are a chance to win it. But we're just got to forget. We've got short memory sometimes when it comes to these players. Same with Turbo. He was the best fullback in the comp and had a year apart from maybe Jared Hayne, that back half of 09, we've never seen before. Maybe Benny Barber for the Dogs as well. But these players are special. Let's rise them up. But we'll get Tyler's. Look, I'll do a post later. We'll get Tyler's top 5 halfbacks or something for the comp at the moment. Maybe fullbacks as well. And I'll get back to you. Yeah, we'll do a bit of everything. Why not? We'll just have a bit of fun. We've got heaps of time, obviously.
I'll end it on saying, it's all good and well, but if you play half a season, you leave your team a bit short for that other half of the season if you don't have adequate depth.
Well, I just want to know, what if it's not their fault? Like, Pappenhausen had a contact injury into his knee where his knee shattered, right?
It's definitely not his fault.
He didn't strain his pinky toe and just decide to sit out. Like he shattered his knee and fought his way back. And I want to give him props because he fought his way back from injury so many times. And he could have just gone, I'm over it, I'm done. This is too much. But good on him. Anyway.
All I got to say is Kalen Ponga missed half the season last season, still won Dally M.
and that's
Yeah,
still
but to be
matters
fair, I
to
think SJ
anyone.
deserved
Wasn't robbed. SJ robbed. Sorry, just want to get out of there.
SJ was robbed. in
HJ
that,
was
fair.
robbed
absolutely.
last year.
Just like that year
Hashtag-
when Gutho was robbed and Jack Whiten got it. Just quietly.
Hashtag
Anyway,
Sean
moving
Johnson
on.
Corey
robbed.
Norman. I remember the Corey Norman was robbed as well. I couldn't believe Corey Norman almost won the Dally M and was probably deserved so
Oh my
that year
God,
as well,
true.
which is craziness. But last thing I want to bring up, Tyler, are you ready to let the viewers who have listened the whole hour and 15 minutes of the show,
Oh yeah.
let them know your Roosters v Dragons 3-1 is just a reward for getting this far?
If you don't, I'll say it. So you may as well own up to it.
I
I
feel like you
got it
should.
up. I got it
Let
up.
me just find it. Give me a second. So
And just comprehend it.
I kind of got the
No. Don't.
Point
Just say.
specifics
Just
up.
no. Just say 3-2-1. Just say you're 3-2-1.
So I did 3 Hunt, 2 Crichton, 1 Teddy. I thought we were going in the other direction, and I've been
don't
part
buy
of this page for how long now?
I don't buy that because you've been doing it right every other game.
Every
so I
other
don't
game.
buy that.
No,
Every game
no,
you
I
do it right.
genuinely haven't been. I've been doing it that way the whole time.
Everyone knows 3-2-1 is 3 is the best, 2-1.
No, I thought we were counting down.
Tyler, you've had a massive weekend on the drink or something.
Why
I
would
feel
we
like,
not
'cause
do it like 1, 2, 3 then? Why would we do?
Well, I did think it was
Why would
weird,
we list
but
it
I just never
backwards?
said anything.
Even I got it, and I'm like, blah.
And Goosey's dumb. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. Goosey's
Quite
not
literally,
the sharpest
and
tool
Joel's
in the shed.
balding. So
Anyway,
Andrew
guys.
asked a good question there.
Andrew. All right, let's quickly end on this. We always like to end on a non-footy related. Can I get
Board
everyone's
game.
favorite board game to play?
Oh,
Goodness,
what is
man,
it?
it's
What
been
is
a
it?
while.
What
I
is
used to
it?
love me
What is
board games. It's been a while. I'll go first. Let the boys have some thinking time. I'll go battleships. That was a good fun one. Where you
Ooh,
sunk
good one.
your ship
Ancient.
A3, D6, and vice versa. I was a fan, and I actually
you
was
like
a
that,
pretty
do you?
big fan of Monopoly, even though it took hours.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
liked the thinking behind it and the strategy behind it. So I like those sort of games where there's a bit towards. Tyler, let's get you going first. You're on a who knows what could come out of your mouth tonight. This is going
Beer pong.
goose.
3, 2, 1, go.
I'm more of a fuck you, Jack. I'm more of a card game person myself, but I really enjoyed the game of life. It's nothing like it is in real life. It really gave me false hope as a child, and I want to find the developers of that and just have a few words. That's the next email that I'll write.
Just pop out 5 kids. It's as easy as that. It's all good. Life doesn't change. You can go on a holiday
life just gives you
car.
in randomly landing somewhere.
You get a 500,000K job just like that. It's easy. Game of life. Well done. Thank you. Goosey, what do you got?
Cluedo.
Oh,
Like a little, take
bad.
it back a little bit. Yeah,
not bad. I don't mind the
I
old
don't think I've ever
Cluedo.
played it.
Jakey boy.
it's good.
Oh, Cluedo hasn't come out where you live yet.
Yeah, no, not yet. Nah. No, I'm a big Monopoly person as well. Love that. But also myself and the fiance, when we're bored, we play a bit of checkers and chess. Bit of
Ooh.
the classics.
I don't know.
You
play
can't go
chess.
wrong with the classics, can you? It's just
You
the way
cannot.
it is. And Andrew, you produced again with one of these non-sport or non-footy related questions, which we always love to end on. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We went well over time, but you stuck with us, so I really appreciate it. You're listening gladly on the podcast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, that bell icon. If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, however you are listening. On YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 1K. We want to get to 1K before the season's out. We've stalled a little bit with Holt after a rapid rise up to about 650 or so we're up to. So let's get to that 1K mark. Let's share it around. Spread the love, get us there. When we get to 1K, I'll be doing a jersey giveaway as well, so to celebrate. Goosey, stop giving yourself raps. No one cares. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Love you all. Up the Blues for
Queenslander.
a bit more. But goodbye for now, and thank you, boys.